Hi everyone. Today in this session we are going to see about heat capacity and specific heat capacity. In day-to-day life we always find that different bodies requires different amount of heat energy to attain a particular temperature. For example, if you are taking water and milk, that every day we are using, right? No, sometimes you just consider that equal amount of water and milk you took, and you have to boil it. So the boiling time for water and milk will be different. That means heat energy required to attain 100 degrees Celsius will be different for water and milk. Okay. So that means it requires different amount of heat energy. Normally we used to express this in terms of heat capacity. Heat capacity. So heat capacity means it is the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature through 1 degree Celsius. Okay. For a body, it is the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature through 1 degree Celsius. Always we used to represent heat capacity in terms of capital C dash. Okay, heat capacity is always expressed as capital C dash. So heat capacity as in terms of equation we can represent like this way. Heat capacity is the amount of heat energy absorbed divided by change in temperature. Okay, amount of heat absorbed divided by change in temperature. Or completely, if you represent like notation, we can represent it as C dash is equal to, how can we represent the heat energy? Energy, we already told that we are using it by Q. Q is the amount of heat energy absorbed divided by delta T, change in temperature. So this is a way how we can represent heat energy. C dash is capital C dash is equal to Q divided by delta T. Now shall we find out the unit of this one? Okay. So what is the unit of Q? Temperature, heat energy is always represented as joule or calorie. Joule per temperature, Kelvin. So joule per Kelvin is a SI unit of heat capacity, or else we can write it as joule per Celsius. Last video I mentioned that we can use it Kelvin or Celsius for change in temperature, because each division or the difference between each division shows one particular division, 1 Kelvin or 1 degree Celsius. That change in temperature is equal. So we can represent either as Kelvin or Celsius. Or else instead of joule we studied one more unit, that is calorie. We can use it as cal per Kelvin or cal per Celsius. So these are the 4 ways we can represent heat capacity. This is a particular SI unit is joule per Kelvin, and these are the other 3 methods we can represent the unit of heat capacity. And if you see the conversion, 1 kilocal per Celsius or Kelvin is equal to 1000 cal per Kelvin or Celsius. If you are using Celsius here, the right side also should be having Celsius. And how can we convert calorie and joule? So 1 cal per Kelvin or Celsius is equal to 4.2 joule per Kelvin. Okay, instead of cal, if you are using joule, means it should be 4.2 joule. Or the same way we can represent 1 cal per Celsius is equal to 4.2 joule per Celsius. Just consider the specific heat capacity of a vessel is represented as 30 joule per Kelvin. What does it mean? Okay, it's simply given that the heat capacity is given as 30 joule per Kelvin, and sometimes you will get a question what does it mean? So it means that the 30 joule heat energy is required by the vessel to increase the temperature by 1 Kelvin or 1 Celsius. So 30 joule heat energy is required by the particular vessel to increase its heat energy or increase its temperature through 1 Kelvin. So this is about heat capacity. Now we are going to see what is specific heat capacity. So specific heat capacity, simply we can express that it is a heat capacity for unit mass. Okay, so what was heat capacity? Heat capacity is the amount of heat energy required by a body to raise its temperature through 1 degree Celsius. They were not mentioning about the mass. So here, if the heat capacity is expressed for unit mass, we used to call it as specific heat capacity, and specific heat capacity is represented by the letter small c. Okay, so we can define specific heat capacity. It is the amount of heat energy required by an unit mass of substance to increase its temperature through 1 degree Celsius. So it is the amount of heat energy absorbed by unit mass. It can be 1 gram, 1 kilogram. So it is the amount of heat energy absorbed by unit mass of object to increase its temperature through 1 Kelvin or 1 degree Celsius. Okay, so we will represent, I simply told you that heat capacity is equal to, specific heat capacity is equal to heat capacity divided by mass. Simply we can represent like this way. Heat capacity is represented by capital C dash divided by mass. What was the equation for C dash? C dash is equal to Q by delta T. So if we substitute that here, we will get here it as C dash instead of C dash, Q divided by delta T into M. So specific capacity is equal to Q by M into delta T. Shall we find out the unit for this one? What is the unit of heat energy absorbed? It is joule divided by delta T. I will write here M. It's kilogram. Okay, we will write the SI unit, kilogram and Kelvin. So the unit of specific heat capacity is C is equal to joule per kilogram Kelvin. Or in terms of Celsius, we can write as joule per kilogram Celsius. Okay. Or else we can, instead of this per, we can write it as joule kilogram raised to -1, Kelvin raised to -1. That -1 shows that it is a denominator factor. Even in terms of calorie or in gram also we can mention it as calorie gram raised to -1, Kelvin raised to -1, or even Celsius raised to -1. So this is the way, in different way we can represent the unit of specific heat capacity, and this is the SI unit. The SI unit is this one, joule per kilogram Kelvin, or joule kilogram raised to -1 and Kelvin raised to -1. If we rearrange this equation, we can rearrange. Q is equal to mc delta T. So these are the factors we studied, the amount of heat energy required to increase a particular temperature. These are the factors we studied. It depends upon the mass of the object. It's a property of the or material of the object and change in temperature. So Q is equal to mc delta T is actually came from the equation of specific heat capacity. I will see how calorie and joule is related for this specific heat capacity. So 1 cal gram raised to -1, Kelvin raised to -1 is equal to 1 kilocalorie, kilogram raised to -1, Kelvin raised to -1. How can we convert calorie into joule? We have to multiply it by 4.2 joules. So 4.21 kilocalorie is equal to 4.2 joule into 10 to the power 3. Kilogram is 6. Kilo is a 10 to the power 3 kilogram Kelvin raised to -1. So this is the way we can connect 1 calorie is equal to joule. 4.2 joule into 10 to the power 4.2 into 10 to the power 3 joule kilogram raised to -1 and Kelvin raised to -1. Okay. Just consider an example. The specific capacity of copper is represented as 0.4 joule gram raised to -1 Kelvin raised to -1. What does it mean? This is for copper. The specific capacity of copper is equal to 0.4 joule gram raised to -1 and Kelvin raised to -1. What does it mean? Normally we used to see for the board papers such kind of questions. Okay. So it means that in two different ways we can represent. So 0.4 joule heat energy is required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of copper through 1 Kelvin. Okay. 0.4 joule heat energy is required by 1 gram of copper to increase through 1 Kelvin. So we are just splitting the terms heat energy. So this much heat energy is required by 1 gram of copper to increase the temperature through 1 Kelvin. Okay. Or else we can tell that the heat energy required by 1 gram of copper to increase the temperature by 1 K is 0.4 joule. So three different concepts should be splitted. So that is the way we have to represent this. If the specific capacity is given as 0.4 joule gram raised to -1 and Kelvin raised to -1. Okay. If you see the difference of heat capacity and specific capacity, heat capacity is only two factors are coming. It never depends upon the mass. The unit is joule per Kelvin or joule per Celsius. Here a mass factor is also coming. It is particularly meant for the object. Or we can simply say that specific heat capacity is a property of the material. Okay, it is meant for unit mass. So if 1 kg water is there or 1 gram water is there, the specific heat capacity will be common. It's a constant value. But heat capacity, 1 gram of water and 1 kilogram of water, the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature will be entirely different. Okay. So specific heat capacity is a characteristic property of the material. Or else simply we can tell that if the material is a good conductor of heat, the value of specific capacity is less. Okay. If copper is a good conductor of heat energy, that's why the value is very small, 0.4 joule per gram. Okay. And if it is a bad conductor of heat energy, the specific capacity will be more. In this chapter, we are more concerned about the specific heat capacity of water and the different phases. So I told you that copper, the specific heat capacity is 0.4 joule gram raised to -1 and Kelvin raised to -1. If you see the case of water, it is 4.2 joule gram raised to -1 and Kelvin raised to -1. If you are expressing this in terms of kilogram, it will be 4200 joule kilogram raised to -1 and Kelvin raised to -1. What are the other phases of water? Water, ice, water, steam. Right? No? This is the value of specific capacity of water. But if we see the case of ice and even the steam, the value will be different. For ice, the specific capacity is 2100 joule kilogram raised to -1 and Kelvin raised to -1. And for steam it is 460 joule kilogram raised to -1 and Kelvin raised to -1. So in the same three state itself, we can see the differences. So comparing with water, ice is better conductor of heat energy and steam is much more faster the heat energy will conduct. In the entire world, actually hydrogen has more specific capacity. The specific capacity of hydrogen is given as 14,630 joule kilogram raised to -1 and Kelvin raised to -1. If we see water, sea water, the fresh water, in that also the content is varying. So the presence of salt is there. So according to that also the specific capacity will vary. So one thing you have to keep in your mind, if it is a good conductor, the specific capacity is less, and if it is a bad conductor, the specific capacity of that particular material will be more. Thank you.